Our next step down the path to compositional perfection is adding a little bit of blur to our images. In this case, we're going to continue with the same image that we were working in the last chapter. If you did see it, we improved the brightness and contrast of this image. We separated the foreground mushroom subject from the background, made the background darker, the mushroom lighter. Now, we're going to take the same image as our starting place and add a little bit of blur to that background to create a little bit more separation. So, once again, we're going to go through Lightroom to get to Photoshop because we're going to use Photoshop as our tool. And we right-click on there and choose Edit In, then choose Photoshop CC. And then you can make a choice. You could edit the original or edit a copy. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit a copy so we can see before and after just looking in the library. And I'm going to go ahead and click Edit. And remember, one of the advantages of doing it this way is Photoshop will create a copy of the image and then it will automatically be added to the Lightroom interface and catalog as you see here. Just boom, just like that. All right, so here's our image with our masks. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our background. We want to blur the background a little bit. So we're going to load our background masks, Command Option 7 to load that mask. And then whenever possible, I like to have it editable and non-destructive. And if I just apply a filter to this selection, well, it's not going to be editable or undoable. And it's going to be destructive. It's going to apply it to the pixel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on this, and we're going to make a duplicate layer, and we're going to call this the blur layer. Then I'm going to take this blur layer, and I'm going to go to the filter menu. I'm going to say Convert for Smart Filters. And we convert for Smart Filters. What it does, it makes a smart layer. And then when I come up here and I go Filter and apply a blur and any of the various blurs that you'd like to use, there's a bunch of them. We'll just use a simple Gaussian blur here. And you can apply as much blur as you want to, anywhere from 0.1 all the way up to 500. And we'll just do a radius 4 blur to get us started here. And notice that with the smart layer, when you make a selection, make the smart layer, and then apply the filter, it uses that mask, that selection we had loaded, creates a layer mask out of it, and then applies the filter just for that layer mask area, just like we did with the curve adjustment layers for the foreground and background portions of this image in the previous movie. So this is terrific, and you can just turn this off and on to see the amount of blur. And this is one of those things, again, where I caution you not to go overboard. But, if you want to change it, you can just come in here and say, I want just a little bit more. Let's take it to 5 or not, or change it as little or as much as you want to. And then what we like to do, I think I mentioned this last time, was I like to take all my adjustment layers and select them and do a new group from layers. We'll call this Adjustments. And that way you can turn everything off and on to see the impact of everything. And if you like to move something out, you can move anything that you want out so that you can turn the blur off and on separately if you want to. These things are totally editable, however you want to. So there we go. There's our original, and there's our final version. Quite a big difference. And this is why I consider this to be a compositional tool, because it's allowing us to accomplish a great deal of separation and really focus the viewer's attention on the foreground subject.